Bearcat Bounce Podcast, back at it again. As it is always, it's a Monday during football season. That means we're going to be coming to you more than likely after another Bearcat win. This is a special one. The final regular season win, pardon me, not regular season, the final out-of-conference, non-conference win against a quote-unquote P5 team for the rest of time for the Bearcat football team as they get ready to head into conference play. It was a spectacular 45-24 victory. We could just stop and say it was a 38-10 point win, and then the second half was nothing. But here to break it all down, here to drop it all down, is none other than my two pals, my partners, my guys, one up in the box, one down on the field. Aaron Smith, Chad Brennell. Gentlemen, how are we?
I'm pretty good. Pretty good. Hopefully we get to bring Kelly home tomorrow. So excited about that.
And Aaron, how are we? Oh, Aaron, Mr. Crank.
Sorry. Long day with the baby. It was a long day. She's been fussy today, so.
Okay. Well, Ryan Royer, back from a 1-week hiatus. A special time last Monday. Happy belated birthday to you. And,
Thank you.
Of course, welcome onto the pod. Ryan Royer, how are we?
Ready to talk Bearcats, man. It's been a long 13 days. I miss you guys. Coming off a big win, so I'm excited to get into it.
Miss you big time as well. How was the dinner? How was the birthday? Fill us in on all that real quick.
It was great. Got wined and dined by the lady. Precinct Jeff Ruby's phenomenal. First class service, first class food, first time going there, and it's pretty hard to get into it, I hear. So she pulled a nice surprise for me. So not that you guys aren't important, but I mean, when you turn 24, and you get to go to the precinct to celebrate such a monumental birthday, you got to do it.
I mean, Garrett was in here trying to take your job, bro.
Oh, I mean, I don't doubt that at all. Garrett's the man.
I love Garrett.
Miss that guy. Would run into him at Crunch Fitness a bunch. Him, Will Stir.
I mean, Garrett's yoked right now.
Oh yeah. That's a guy who should have been playing in the NFL. I tell him that all the time too.
Yeah,
it's a tragedy.
Jared wants to know what was the steak for Mr. Bearcat? What was the order?
I went with the New York strip, obviously medium rare. We got the
good cook.
We got the oysters. The oysters were phenomenal. Got some oysters there. Tried to be a little fancy. Had a little red wine too.
Okay,
it's good. Oh, and they gave me like a little brownie cookie thing for my birthday with the candle, so that was nice. So thank you to Mr. Ruby. What a wonderful man.
Nice. You didn't go with the steak burro? Is that one still on the menu, or is that?
It is. I wanted to try the strip. I've been a couple other steakhouses I went to. I got the fillets and thought I'd switch it up a little bit. So, not that I go a lot. I don't want to sound like Mr. Rich Guy here. Definitely not that.
Sure, you want to switch it up? Get a little.
Yeah,
little strip.
You're an engineer, man. You're allowed to soak up that a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know much about that engineer.
He's entry level
salary. I think a couple of my buddies in the NFL might be making a little bit more, but we'll act.
You're going to Ruby's and they're paying when they come back to town.
Oh yeah, we're hoping Alec can come down for homecoming. They got a Thursday night game. He was talking about maybe coming down, so gonna have to milk him a little bit for a little beer money or something.
He had a nice day yesterday.
Yeah.
A couple catches, got on track.
Jerome Ford
Alec
this week too.
Yeah, Jerome Ford.
He was at the Indiana game.
Oh, nice. That's good.
With his diamond-crusted built Ford
tough.
I haven't seen that one. I mean, sauce is
nice.
always. You got the sauce chains coming out all the time from Ahmad. That one is always polarizing. So I wish I could have saw a switch up from Jerome.
Are you pulling it up? I was going to pull up Justin's picture.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, the built Ford top. It's literally exactly like the emblem, but it's hopefully that it's not copyrighted or anything. I mean,
I don't think that's how
ice is
chains
nice.
work.
The ice
Gotta
is
get
nice.
He's got to get a little sponsorship from Ford if he keeps making a name for himself.
There you
Oh,
go.
that's legit. I love that. I
Bill
wonder if he
Ford
stopped by
Drive.
Martino's, his little stomping grounds after the game. I bet you he did.
Probably.
And he did.
Probably.
Well, speaking of Fords, though, if your Ford needs a little fixing, it's not quite built Ford tough anymore. You can head on over to Danco Transmission and Auto Care. Mention Ryan Royer. Mention the Steak Burrow. Mention Jerome Ford or Aaron Smith or Chatty B, and they'll hook it up for you. 10% off your next doing. $10 off your next oil change. Bada bing, bada boom. But I tell you one thing that didn't need much fixing in the first half against Indiana was that offensive attack. Well, pretty much that passing attack of the Bearcats. Ben Bryant, Tyler Scott, Trey Tucker. It was a phenomenal start against what was an undefeated Indiana team, giving up a bunch of yardage against other teams, but still undefeated, finding ways to win. But man, Ryan, fireworks show in the first half.
Yeah, I mean, capping it off too with the big man tutty from my boy Damo. You got to love that. And of course, Eric Phillips making the strip sack. I mean, not even surprised anymore about that, given his first 4 games this season. But yeah, that was a great first half. I mean, you know that Coach Fickle and the staff was probably you can't play like that in the second half. You got to play a full game. Especially when you're playing against, like bigger opponents. I think we just were able to really come out in the first half and establish our dominance and really get a good gap there because you aren't going to be able to win many games when you don't play 60 full minutes like we did on Saturday, but just shows how great the Bearcats really did play in the first half. So I loved it, just seeing Ben come, show the type of arm talent he is, and Tyler Scott showing the type of playmaker he is. I love seeing that. It just comes to show what a couple weeks can do. From that Arkansas game, we were sitting here, people were panicking, freaking out, and we talked about how you need to just, sometimes new quarterback and get with his receivers and give them a couple weeks, and that's exactly what you're seeing now. So, just shows how much better they're going to be towards the end of the year. I'm excited.
Yeah, surprised at all? Were you surprised at all that it's Tyler Scott that ends up putting up a historic number in 3 receiving touchdowns that had never been done in Cincinnati's history?
In the first half.
In a half.
Oh,
sorry.
yeah. I mean, I'm not that when you say it like that, obviously you should be surprised because a career day like that, you don't really expect from anyone. But Tyler, you knew he was special. You knew he has that next level speed, and it's just showing how much his route running's improved. Just showing how good of a job Coach Mike Brown does. I mean, you look at the development he's developed, guys like Alec Pierce, what he turned Alec into, and now you're seeing Tyler Scott. That's looking like the next Alec Pierce too. Who knows? Maybe even better. He's a young guy. Don't tell Alec I said that, but I'm not surprised, and I think Tyler's just going to get better, especially coming into conference play.
Did you watch closely on that post what he did to the corner?
I did not see exactly what.
So he basically spun him in a circle, and take me through that when you're trying to defend a guy with that much speed. And this is a guy that the defender's first team All Big Ten, potential All-American type guy. When somebody that fast has that ability to go this way, to go that way, how much are you just on skates? Like anytime he tries to show you something, because I think he runs the post as well as anybody I've seen.
Yeah, it's the straight line speed. He's able to close the gap with that corner and get him guessing quick. So the way he closes that space, the corner isn't able to backpedal nearly fast enough to be able to, if he makes a one false step, he could sometimes overcorrect it. But guys like Tyler Scott, I mean, they're just out in a hurry and they're breaking. He's so good, like you said, out of his cuts. And that just the DBs, they make one false move. They know they got to react fast and they can't keep their feet under them. And that's exactly why that post route is so good for Tyler. It's that closing speed right out of the route. One cut, stick your foot in the ground and go. I mean, when you're running like damn near high 4.2s is what he was pushing, him and Trey Tucker.
Yeah, both 4.29s.
Yeah, like that's you can't like that's speed you can't like you can't teach. It's a gift, and it's NFL talent, and that's exactly what you're seeing him do. You're seeing him do to an NFL talent corner, putting him on skates, putting up 3 tutties first half. I mean, you gotta love it. Just shows how special he is.
Yeah, so I was going to say, is it about time where the country starts to take a closer look at Tyler Scott? I mean, you have wide receivers in the NFL right now. It's, yes, you have those kind of Megatrons still built 6'4", 6'5" guys like a T Higgins, but then you have the quicker, the Jalen Waddles and the Tyreek Hills and Terry McLaurin's of the world, even Jamar Chase pushing 6 foot. Is it time that people start thinking about Tyler Scott and the NFL as soon as even possibly at the end of this year? Because what he's put together the past 2 weeks, you can imagine that's going to be the same thing going on all throughout conference play against the AAC. Chad and Aaron, you guys break down the AAC every single Sunday. I mean, it seems like these are some
Highlight
numbers. Exactly. And it's going to be the highlight of your year every year from here on out. I'm excited for it. But, do you think that this is the start of something where people start to recognize, wow, there's this speedster down there in Cincinnati that's blowing teams away, scoring touchdowns, getting wide open on his routes, and catching everything thrown his way?
100%. And I think that's kind of how it's been at Cincinnati with we've had a lot of solid receivers, even into the Tuberville years, guys that get drafted, scouts see them, scouts find them, but the media doesn't really pick up on them. You saw that with Alec. They just started catching on to him as we went on that run towards the end of the year and pushed into the playoff, and the way he tested for the combine, but still it wasn't like a ton of like hype. And, who knows, maybe after Alec, after like seeing all these guys in the NFL, all these receivers we've had get drafted and put together solid college careers, maybe they should, because I think Tyler Scott's going to make more noise. I mean, he's not done. He's going to I think he's going to play better each and every week. And I think the coaching staff, they're seeing what they have now more and more. They're going to have him as a guy they can depend on. They're going to dial up more routes, more passing concepts around him, especially how good Ben's been with him. He's been a guy Ben can count on. Ben's just, even on that touchdown he dropped right in the basket, Ben's starting to trust him and just throw the ball out there and let Tyler go make a play. And he's starting to make them. So
I'm going to make a bold statement, Ryan.
Let's hear it.
I think he's a better route runner than he is a speedster.
Probably. I mean, there's a reason why he's open. He's not just.
It's not just that he's fast, man.
Yeah.
Like, he is running impressive routes.
Yeah. And it's just the speed, because we know him. We know his numbers. We know, like, you guys come to workouts. You come to the summer workouts. He's winning all the sprints. Him and Trey are just miles ahead of everyone.
Except Drew.
You just – oh, yeah, Drew Donnelly. Forgot about him. Yeah. And you kind of just – you get – I don't know about that. Bryce Burton's pushing him up there too a little bit.
Yeah, Bryce has got wheels.
You kind of get fixated on the speed, but then you're like, I mean, he's not just running down the sideline. Like, he's running digs, he's running posts, he's running plays that require running routes that require multiple cuts in his route, and he's wide ass open, and it's not running down the sideline. So I agree with you. That route running is special, and it kind of gets overlooked by that speed.
Which blows me away because he didn't play wide receiver growing up. He was a running back. He didn't play wide receiver until he got to Cincinnati. It shows how smart he is and how much he works and how much of a student of the game he is, because to make that leap from having never played the position to playing the position at the highest level of the sport it's year 3. Like, he's done this so fast.
Oh, it just shows that, like, it's exponential. Like, this isn't his ceiling. Like, he's got more. Yeah. I mean, just wide receiver is so technical. People think, sometimes it's just running a straight line, jumping up as high as you can, and just grabbing the ball away from people. I mean, we're talking breaking off the press. We're talking the ways they're able to lower their hips, run their routes, cut in and out of breaks. It's so technical, And that's something that Coach Mike Brown has really embraced and done a great job with our guys. Coach Brown is super technical. He's a great coach. He played the game. He played the game at the highest level. And that's why you're seeing guys just getting so much better. And guys who are Tyler Scott's going to get drafted. I think there's plenty of young guys who have plenty of opportunity to develop and get right into that conversation too. So Tyler Scott is not done. He's going to get better.
You've never put Tyler Scott's head in the fan. I can guarantee that.
Man, yeah, we haven't actually. We got to make a couple calls.
The neck pillow gets in the way.
Yeah, he's at home with his robe on, his neck pillow, the candles going.
He's a chill guy. He likes to cool it down a little bit.
You know, the funny thing about Tyler Scott this past week was he came down to IU and Cincinnati as his making his college decision, and his host at IU when he went on his visit there was Tywin Mullen, who he was then kind of tearing up on the field this past Saturday as well. So he laughed about that in the post-game presser. But yeah, I used to text Tyler every Saturday and ask him how he did that the night prior for the the weekend wrap up of the incoming recruits. And he actually had a bum ankle for a good chunk of his senior year. I'd be interested to see if he kind of blew up a little bit even more his senior season, if he didn't, wasn't hampered by a bit of an ankle injury during the early parts. But man, he's blowing up now. His receiving yardage was the second most in the country yesterday. He had 185. And out of the top 10 receivers that had the top yardage this past week, he led all of them with 10 receptions and had 3 touchdowns on top, as we've mentioned before. I mean, I don't know how you don't start talking about him a little bit more. He fits that mold of what the NFL is looking for, just fast, guys that can get open, guys that can make people miss when they do have the ball.
Yeah, finds the end zone. That's something I've noticed. If he's running down 20 and in, he's going to find the end zone. That's a big deal. Like, you see that with our guys on defense. Sometimes we struggle the past couple of years getting in the end zone on those picks. That's like getting automatic points and not settling for field goals, not getting tackled, because people don't understand how hard it is to score when you get inside the 20. That field shrinks down. Yeah. Offenses don't like being in the red zone. It limits their calls. It makes it easier on the defense, less area we have to cover. So getting into the end zone is huge, and that's something he does a great job of. And then people need to start taking notice of that, how important that is in his game.
So he's a junior, so obviously he's eligible to head on, but who knows? Hopefully he just continues this hot streak that he's on right now, and just continues to blow up and get on the national scene. And speaking of, we do have to touch on Ben Bryant because as you mentioned a little bit, Ryan, and as everyone else has mentioned throughout the weekend, I mean his first half was up there, some of the better first halves ever for a quarterback in a Cincinnati uniform. The crazy thing about Ben's final stat line is that he is now thrown 3 separate games for 354 yards right on the dot. That's his career high, is 354. He just has not been able to get over that hump of 354. He did it twice last year at Eastern. Kind of just open-ended to all you guys. You think it is just that game reps, the ability to say, okay, when Tyler's making his cut here or Trey's going to be open, if I just give him like a 2-second pause. And on top of that is just the ability to just sit in the pocket for as long as he wants to as well. I mean, there's a lot of prolific passers that have come through Cincinnati, but the stats that he has the ability to put up for the rest of the year, I feel like it's going to be up there with some of the all-time great single seasons that have been seen in Cincinnati history.
100%. I mean, he was already before the game? Was he third or fourth most yards in history of UC in the first 3 games? It was like Gunnar Keel, Gino, and then him. Is that what it was?
Yeah, I was looking at Gunnar. I was going to make a different point. So I actually have Gunnar Keel's stats up right now.
Yeah.
Toledo, 418. Miami of Ohio, 271. Toledo, 418, 6 touchdowns. Miami of Ohio, 271, 4 touchdowns. Ohio State, 352, 4 touchdowns. That was the first 3 games of Gunnar Keel's career.
Yeah.
Well, and that Toledo game, he was on fire.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is that Toledo game the first half where he had the most or was that against Ohio State? 300 plus yards, because I know Ben
Right.
was the first
He
to
had
pass for.
418 against Toledo.
Golly. But yeah, I mean, he's got to be out there final, just stat wise, passing yardage, and all those. He's got to be out there with the tops in single season history for the Bearcats.
Yeah, I
He's
think
on
he's
pace
going
for
to
about
push
4,000 yards.
Yeah,
That'd be pretty good.
I think it'd be okay.
And I think we all knew that this was like that's what he was capable of, and we knew he had the talent, and people tend to freak out, first week with Arkansas, and I think we all kind of said we just need to we don't want to lose. Losing sucks, but Ben is the guy for a reason, and you saw exactly why in the first half. I mean, just throws that I haven't seen made in my time at UC. No knock on Dez, but just the accuracy, the strength, and just the poise in the pocket. I mean, I think he's going to have a record year. I'm calling it now. I think he's going to make a big, especially playing 14 games. We got to take care of business in the conference and get to the championship game. Playing 14 games, I think he can make a big push for that record. So that's my bold prediction there. Ben Bryant, UC season record in yards passing.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm looking at it now, and it says season records and passing yardage in one season was Geno back in 2002. He had 3,543 yards. So all is lining up for that to be at least met or topped. But this is from 2019, so I don't know off the top of my head what Dez finished with last season, but I would imagine it'll be right there up on the top. But who knows? So Ben Bryant obviously on fire. We'll get to the second half in a bit, but I want to talk about a little bit more in the first half. You mentioned the interception by Brian Threats, who then gets tackled by Ty Van Fossen on his way to the end zone.
God,
man,
that was a touchdown. That was an easy touchdown.
Yeah.
What's up with the Black Cats? Is it because Ty said no? If we're getting in the end zone, got to be an upperclassman because we've been trying to get in the end zone for so much.
Ty was like, Ivan's kind of taken away from my tackle numbers. I need to get on the board a little bit more.
I think Ty was just mad that he always fell short on his picks. He's had a couple opportunities in practice and scrimmages and in a game. He just can't seem to find the end zone. So he's like, if I can't do it, there's no way I'm letting this Threats kid, fellow Columbus guy, take my spotlight. I got to get this guy down. But that hurt too. We got a field goal out of that. That's we have to get into. We got to get in the damn end zone. I was. I mean, it was great. I mean, great play, great return. You just got to get in the damn end zone. You can't have that.
Chad, Aaron, Ryan, what do you think the issue has been? Because it does seem like during the Fickle tenure, when it is 5 yards and in. And Ryan, you kind of touched on it a little bit, how the field gets compacted, this, that, and the other, but it does seem like the team at times struggles to get that push into the end zone.
Yeah. I just think play calling gets reserved. It's strange. Same thing kind of happened in the second half, I think. But it just seems like they fall so in love with the north and south running, trying to run the halfback dive or an ISO right up the middle or something of that nature, that they just I don't know what it is.
Here's my question, Ryan. This was a loud sentiment among the fan base. Do you think they need to get Josh and Lenny more involved in those, inside the 10, inside the 5 type snaps?
I mean, they're big. They're guys that you can throw the ball up to. I mean, we like doing that with Alec last year. I mean, my personal belief is I think on the 5-yard line, we should run the ball 4 times. And if we can't get 5 yards and 4 runs, then I think that's on our O-line. And I think that's something our O-line is completely capable of. So I know what you mean, Aaron, that it gets kind of repetitive, but that's kind of how our program, that's our culture. All right, we need to be able to get more than 1 yard a play and be able to get in the end zone, like by just running the ball. That's how our offense, that's how our culture is established. But yeah, you can definitely incorporating Josh and Lenny, split those guys out, run more of the skip play, get them involved in like a little RPO skip option. Cause people are going to fixate on Josh and Lenny. And even if we don't get them the ball, that's going to give just more room for our running back, quarterback, maybe to stick his foot in the ground and get in the end zone. But yeah, I mean, you could open the playbook up, but honestly, it just comes down to like man on man. You gotta get more than a yard of play on a rush from inside the 5 and just get in the damn end zone.
I guess that leaves me with the question of, is it more an indictment on the offensive line not being able to get the push? Is it more an indictment on we haven't found a bell cow yet in a running back, or is it just simple play calling?
I think our offensive line, they tell you they could have played better, but 30 rushes for 40 yards. Is that what it came out to be? Like, that's not acceptable.
Not
yeah, and they know that, and they're going to get better. They will. And, I thought our running back there wasn't a lot of lanes to run through like normal. I thought our backs were getting hit like around at or 1 yard past the line of scrimmage. And they're going to get that right. Those guys, great group of guys, great room, great leadership. They're going to figure that out. And we got to get the run game going. I mean, our passing game was on fire, but
yeah.
you can't be 30 attempts for 40 yards. That's just that's not Bearcat football.
No. Were you surprised in the second half of a game where they trailed by at times 4 touchdowns that Indiana was going 7, 8 in the box, bare front, 5 defensive linemen? Like, they were selling out as if they believed Luke Fickell was going to try to shorten the game, and they saw an opportunity to force 3 and outs and to get the ball back a bunch of times. Are you surprised? Most teams don't do that. Most teams, when they get lit up for 315 yards in the first half, say, we got to stop the pass. And Indiana said, we're going to stop the run. And if their offense was any better, it probably would have got them back in the game.
Yeah, got to make that adjustment. I mean, what's working, what's not. I think our O-line was struggling and our passing game it's a balance. You got passing doing well, but you want to get the clock running. You want guys in bounds. You don't want incompletions. You don't want to get your quarterback hit in a big lead. So I'm good with relying on the O-line for a little bit and be like, all right, let's lean on the guys. Let's get a push. But, it comes a certain point in time where it wasn't working. I do think they should have get Tyler Scott the ball, maybe get Trey Tucker the ball, lateral, a jet sweep, something like that, change up the pace a little bit. But yeah, I'm not an offensive coordinator. I don't know that side of the game that well. I'm not going to sit back here and play what we could have done, Mr. Gino, but
Monday morning quarterback.
Yeah. And I don't that's the thing about me. I play defense. I know defense, but I know football. I don't want to sit here and say like, oh, we should have did this, this, and this. We're stupid here. I mean, they had a reason for everything they were doing, and I think they're going to learn from their mistakes, and O-line will get better, play calling will get better, and I don't think we're going to have another half like that. So,
yeah, because kind of going back to the 5 yards and in, I mean, it was a pass to Trey Tucker on 3rd down when it was 1st and goal inside of the 10, and it still took if not for that was a good play call. Trey was pretty wide open, and Ben delivered a good ball. But yet again, if that somehow falls incomplete, then that's another field goal on a goal to go. And then of course, in the 4th quarter, they were set up 1st and goal at the 2-yard line with your opponent pretty defeated by that point. It took getting all the way to 3rd down to punch that in to the end zone as well. So it's just something like that, whether it be play calling or getting a good push or, as many rushing attempts to get it in, I agree. But definitely something that's always kind of boggled my mind because the offense can move the ball so well, but when it does get kind of crunched up like that, then sometimes it seems like, a field goal is what the settle is. But aside from that, if we have to talk on the second half, I've got kind of just an interesting thought for you guys to munch on or just completely just chew up and throw back in my face. When you go up 38-10 at halftime, and you go into the locker room, and you kind of have that mentality of like, I mean, we are a lot better than this team. At what point does the kind of cruise control turn on, and whether that can affect you quickly offensively, where you get out of the rhythm that you had in the first half, and all of a sudden you're scrambling trying to find that rhythm, and in the same sense you kind of tone things down to run the clock and whatnot. But I mean, pushing the pedal to the metal, at what point is it where you do change up the offensive game plan? Because it seemed like that's what they tried to do in the second half, and I mean, it just, did you want to see them maybe come out the next few drives and continue looking to throw the football? Or is it trying to establish the run is what you guys think should be the motive?
Well, we want to establish the run the whole game too, but go ahead, Aaron. Sorry.
I was going to ask you a very similar question. So I was curious to see what your reaction was as well. Just kind of what the locker room has been like. Obviously last year was a little bit different with the college football playoff implications, and when you weren't putting up style points that counted against you for reasons that are absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, just kind of wanted to get your idea on that as well. Good question, Brent.
Yeah, it's so basically our program, it was always like, we don't take our foot off the gas. Like the mentality is the same, like no mercy. Like if we're beating these guys, let's beat them more. Let's score more. Let's blitz more. We're going to play our game, our style, no matter if we're winning by 40, losing by 10, you name it. But the human element always kicks in. It's like, oh, and this is a little nice. This is nicer than I thought it was going to be. We're winning. It's easy. But our coaches and like our guys, we have a culture. We try to fight and push that human element back. That kind of like that coasting part of having a big lead. And obviously football, you gotta play the game smart. Like you shouldn't go out in the second half and throw the ball 50 times when you're up 28. But I don't think that means you're changing a mentality by not throwing the ball. I think you're playing smart, but you got to trust in your team and like the culture we have that, yeah, we might run the ball more because that's what you should do in this situation, but we're not like going to take it easy. Like we're not letting up. And I don't think our guys were doing that. I just think we got to be better, got to play better. And I think the O-line's going to get things straightened out. And next time we have a 28-point lead, we're going to add 14 more points and way more time of possession in the second half because the run game's going to be sorted out. So, but yeah, it's never foot off the gas. It's always pedal to the metal, full go. That's how we play the game. That's the only way to play the game when you're playing for UC.
I guess to piggyback off that question from Brent, when you're up 38-10 and then you end up winning by 21, but only because you put a touchdown in after a very late interception, what's the locker room like with Coach Fickle after that kind of a win?
Like Coach Fickle, this is what I love about Coach Fickle. When you win, we celebrate. You only get 12 guaranteed games in a season, and Coach Fickle preaches that. I love it because football, that's one thing about football. You train year round for 12 opportunities, and it's a big deal when you win. And we celebrate. That's some of my favorite times, celebrating any game. We find a way to celebrate, be with each other, and have a good time. But then Sunday we come in and like, we played like shit, we're going to be told we play like shit. We're going to know we played like shit, and we're going to fix it in practice. And that's just the way it is. But it's Coach Vic. Like there'll be times like last year, like the Tulane game where we didn't play well and we kind of like should have won by a lot more and we didn't. But Coach Vic came in, he's like, "Who went to win? Win it ain't easy." Like trying to like, he's like all hyped, trying to get us going. That's what I always loved about Coach Fickle. That he loved winning and he always made sure we knew how important winning was. But obviously Sunday, I know he's going to be in there and say we should have won by 40. We should have won by more than we did. So.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, kind of the second half, I'd be interested to see what happened if, that the past two, Lenny maybe didn't have the amount of, heat that it had, or wasn't tipped and deflected and then fell right into the lap of Mullen of IU. If points were able to be put on the board, or at least some sort of a drive was to be sustained for the Bearcats to open up the second half, that would completely wipe away any thought of Indiana feeling like they can make a comeback, because they've come back in every single game this year. They've been down at half. They were down 10-0 to Idaho. They were, just constantly, their MO was not giving up and having the ability to come back and win at the end. So maybe that interception and then turning that into a touchdown for them kind of was a glimmer of hope for them. Yeah, that's the reason why they kind of strapped up and tried to completely play lockdown defense, especially against the run, because it did seem like the offense was a little off, whether it be the adjustments Indiana made or whether it be kind of just throwing off rhythm or whatnot. But in the end, as Aaron's mentioned, and as it's obviously true, Cincinnati won the game pretty handily, 45-24. I want to talk about some more positive stuff. I mean, the defense has to step up, and when the offense is struggling to that point, and to only give up 14 points, 2 touchdowns in the second half, when you have, I believe it was 4 or 5 straight 3-and-outs that gave the ball back to the Hoosiers just over and over again. In the play of, we've kind of already mentioned it, but Eric Phillips, Ivan Pace continuing, but I mean, in the middle, I'm blown away by how good Dante Corleone has looked, and believe that he has just unbelievable upside already as a redshirt freshman. I mean, is that kind of the complementary side of football, even though they only let up, 10 points in the first half, but still the ability for the offense to blow up in the first half and then the defense being the one that needed to step up into the second and make sure that they can right the ship?
Yeah, I thought, like you said, you're highlighting those guys who stepped up, and losing Arquan to an injury, that's tough. He's our best player in the secondary, but young guys stepping in, Justin Harris stepping in, maybe got to work on maybe a little less penalties, but I know they're going to work on that, and it's good getting guys in there and getting them reps too, because we've had the past couple years, we've had a lockdown secondary. The depth chart's been pretty locked. And it's going to be locked this year too, with Arquan, Taj, Threats, and Hicks, and just guys stepping up and getting in there, getting reps. You got to learn for some of those mistakes in the secondary, and you're fortunate to have those guys in there against a good opponent with a good lead. But some of those mistakes, if it was a tighter game, it'd be a lot more magnifying glass on them. But I think they'll be fine anyway. But yeah, the D line, Ivan Pace, those guys are they're lights out. They've been lights out. They will be lights out the whole year. They're going to get better, which is scary. I mean, to be able to see Eric Phillips, we knew Eric Phillips was a dog, but this amount of production is just, I wasn't seeing it. I'm damn happy I am though. I love it. Noah Potter, I mean, play after play, just driving the tackle. I mean, he's not even doing anything. Just play after play, just boom, boom, boom. Let's go for a ride, buddy. Let's go for a ride right to the quarterback.
Like practice reps, right? I noticed that too. Every snap, he was all right, I'm taking you to the backfield again.
Yeah.
All right, I'm taking you to the backfield again.
Yeah. And you know what I love about it is this was a team that we would all a couple years ago, it was always a battle for recruits. And then now you just see, I think this is a great example of where the program's at and the recruiting and the development of the players. That was supposed to be a team. Indiana was supposed to be a team that was level head to head with Bearcats, type of players they were getting. And then you just see the past 2 years, the dominance, the development, the improvement in recruiting, and it's only going to get better. We should have beat Indiana by 5 touchdowns, more than 5 touchdowns, 6 maybe. And all those guys and all those guys too that you're talking about, Eric Phillips, Corleone, Arquan, but these guys, they weren't big name people. We brought them in, we even the guys we didn't out recruit Indiana with, we overdeveloped them, and now we're kicking their ass with them. And I just love it. I love seeing that. I love seeing guys come in that like Eric Phillips, Corleone. Like I love that, just beating ass. It's just especially against a team like IU.
Ryan, some people at IU thought that they actually beat themselves. Did you hear about that?
I don't know how they could think that. I mean, maybe last year they'd have more of an argument to that one. That not this one at all.
Well, the guy who said it wasn't even on the team last year, so
here's something fun, Ryan. Can you name for me the 2 lowest rated recruits in the 2021 recruiting class?
For the Bearcats?
Yeah.
I can.
2021. So that was my last year, my 4th year. The
no, it would have been your 4th. Yeah, the freshman year, 4th year. Shaman, Threats, Jack Dingle, that group.
I don't know. It would I don't know. You're gonna have to tell me.
The lowest rated recruit.
Dante Corleone.
No, there was one rated lower than him.
Dominique Perry. No.
Mason Fletcher.
Oh,
was the lowest rated recruit in that class.
Beast.
And look, I went toe to toe with 24/7. Like, look, man, this kid's dad was the Kobe Bryant of Australian girls football. Like, this kid is a dog. Ryan, you weren't here last week, so you didn't hear. The 70-yard punt from the end zone against Miami?
Yeah.
Miami put their returner at the 45. And I guess Fletch took that as total disrespect.
Took that personal.
He took that, and I took that personally, as Michael Jordan said.
Yeah.
I asked him, I was joking with him about it, in the 4th quarter. And he said, "Hey, put the return at the 45." And I was like, "I'm just going to kick it over his bleeping head." And that was the spark that had him kick, the 67-yard with an 8-yard loss tacked on top of it, a 75-yard kick that took the ball from the 5-yard line to the opponent's 20. But Mason Fletcher was the lowest rated recruit in that class. Oops. Dante Corleone was the second. Of position players, Dante Corleone was the lowest rated commitment in that class. Nailed it.
And he's a monster. I think we need to, we're getting him reps. I think he can only go so many plays. He's a little bit on the bigger side, but
I think it's better for him to have Damo back now because you got Briggs, Damo, and Corleone that can roll.
I mean, and those are just like that wears teams down. Like that style player, that just like pure like bull rush, like bang, bang, bang every play. Like if you're it's hard to be able to do that every snap as one guy. But you got 3 guys that are just looking to just destroy and just havoc backfield. I want to hit this guy as hard as I can every play. That teams aren't going to be able to handle that, and that's what you're seeing. And now you got Eric Phillips, just Noah Potter.
Watley's playing well.
Yeah,
Justin Watley's also pushing back in.
That's just how do you scheme that up? Like, how are you gonna be all right? They got 9 guys that are just gonna be first quarter fresh coming at you guys.
Yeah.
Good luck. What do you say as an opposing O-line coach?
Well, and especially because all of them are, kind of bull rush would be their probably first pass rush move. And
that was my specialty.
If you're constantly just ramming into the offensive line and they aren't rotating as much as you guys are, like you're saying, once it hits that 3rd quarter, that 4th quarter, you're going to get pressure and then you're going to get sacks. And I mean, you saw, Noah Potter and Juwan Briggs combined for 1. Ivan Pace is always back there, but him and Dante, also paired up for 1. I think it's just going to, especially when you start to get into this AAC schedule, there's going to be some games where you're going to see a tackle put on his keister and then Noah Potter breathing in the face mask of the quarterback after a sack. It's going to happen. So, I mean, it's just the defensive line has been very, very, very strong to begin the year, and Aaron beats that drum every single week, and I completely agree. What does it do to a defense when the opposing team sets a record for most passing attempts in one game like IU did on Saturday, 66 attempts. And
Crazy.
Numerous drives, mentioned being extended due to not them picking up first downs, but by way of the penalty. So, I mean, for this defense to not wither at any point, just constantly go after it, play in and play out, 100 plus plays, 66 passing attempts. I mean, that's an unbelievable
insane.
number. Unbelievable
that's insane.
number.
Yeah. I don't think people understand like how that's damn near like 2 games amount of plays.
It's a lot.
Like that is a lot. And like that's be like, all right, 2 games, 24 points. That's 12 points a game. I don't know about you guys. That's really good. Yeah. I think we all know football. That's good. That's good defense.
Good
defense.
Right.
Good defense. Turnovers. You got young guys coming in. Guys hurt. One of our best players hurt in the secondary. Mm-hmm. Like that, and 66 pass attempts. Arquan Bush is not playing too. And like, I mean, 24 points. You might be like, oh damn, that's not like good. Great. Like we don't want to give up 24. Like we want to be better than that. But then when you really look at it, like the game, the scenario, all the details, you're like, damn, that defense played well. We made a lot of plays. We just gotta stay off the field. I mean, you need a little help from the boys on the O a little bit, but
critical question for you. What is the max number of snaps you feel you could play in a game?
All right, so are we going off of me in my 5th year having not played a game of football in 5 years and just dilly-dallying around at practice?
Whatever your answer wants to be based off of, there's a reason I'm going down this path. I want to know the most snaps you could play in a game.
I mean, I'd like to say I could sit here and play 150 snaps, Chad, just because I'm that insane, and I'd find a way, and I would be carted off the field.
I think you probably played close to 150 snaps in the spring game your senior year.
Yeah, and you know what?
The most dominant player on the field.
Yeah, the 17-year-olds, they were feeling the heat, but no, and that the funny part about that is like I learned the hard lesson of you can't celebrate too hard because that makes you tired. And when you play, when you actually have to play, and you're not just like a 10-play warrior like I was in college during practice, you can go out there, make 2 plays, scream, holler, jump around, celebrate. But when you have to do like 50 plays in a spring game, Coach Fick's yelling at you to get your ass back to the huddle, and you're like, he's damn right. I'm damn tired, and I'm an idiot. I need to go and shut my mouth. No, I don't know. I think I could play. I think I could play 80 snaps. I mean, if you got to remember, if I was, capable of doing anything.
What do you think the number was for most snaps played by a Bearcat in that game?
Defensively. Yeah.
Defensively. 104 snaps on offense plus special teams. What was the number of most snaps played in that game?
80.
I know the answer to this, so I'm not going to say it.
There's 2.
Is it 100?
Snap off.
Is it 100?
106 for Ivan Pace. 105 snaps for Brian Threats.
I love it.
How insane is that?
And Ivan is like a middle linebacker. Like that is like you are in the shit at all times.
Every snap. He might be my favorite Bearcat ever.
And he still celebrates.
He's only been here for 4 games.
I needed if he was I wish he was there when I was there. He could have given me a couple pointers. How do you do it? How do you celebrate? And
well, he just does this.
I know, or the sniper.
The sniper
was unbelievable.
I was waiting for a flag. I was waiting, and then I was just waiting for them to pan over to Coach Rick. You mother.
He sprinted like 6 yards away from where everything was happening and just collapsed on the ground and did the infantry sniper.
And then I don't know if you guys know how fast he got up too. Just like, all right.
Oh, I tried to get a picture. And he was down and up before I could get the camera like focused on him to snap a shot.
Yeah, he's finding a way to be a freak in a celebration,
That's how you don't get flagged though, Chad. You don't make it too long to where you get caught.
He didn't. The thing was, if that was he didn't aim. If that was a sniper shot, he just got down and shot. and then jump back up. But he never looked in the scope at all.
Chad, that's what we call a quick scope. That's
That was a
Call of Duty.
That was a no scope.
Call of Duty.
All right, you guys know the COD talk now. All right,
There was no
COD
scope. That was a no scope.
He sent Bazelak to the gulag.
Hey, the new COD's coming out. He's getting warmed up for it.
There
He's
we
got to
go.
work on his game.
Yep, him and Kyler Murray for sure. I was
Fred made it funny.
hey, I was blown away though, because if you think about when he first came here, 265 pounds, the ability for him to just buy in and immediately, form his body, follow everything Brady Collins told him, and just turn into this endurance stamina machine that's able to go out there for 100 plus plays and play at still a high level. He was still getting sacks late in that fourth quarter. It's not like he was crashing into the offensive line and kind of taking a play off. He goes all out on every single play. Right now he is tied for 6th in the country, all of college football, in total tackles. He is number 1 by far in the AAC in total tackles, and among those top players in the country, with he has 46 on the season, and among about the top 25, I think you go all the way down to maybe the top 100 top tacklers, he has the most sacks at 4.5. He's putting up stats that are national award worthy, to the point where he's going to start to get in the conversation as well of just, I don't know, a player who's doing literally everything. Yeah. I mean, he was on the preseason watch list. He was considered by some to be the best NFL prospect, even though his height, and I love how open he is about his height as well, how he uses that as a chip on his shoulder, how people doubt him because of that. And I think that drives him even more. And, Aaron and Chad, you guys kind of mentioned it a little bit on, I believe it was the nightcap, but he is getting more comfortable around the team. He's not, at least to the eye of those that can see just via press conferences and whatnot. He seems a little shy.
Brent,
he seems a little reserved, but yeah.
Go back to the spring game, Brent, where he didn't talk really at all out there. Like it's a stark difference from then to now where he's at.
Yeah.
He's also, Deshaun is the loud brother, right? Like there's a loud one and a quiet one.
Deshaun is loud.
Ivan is the quiet, shy one. Deshaun is not like that. He also is number 1 in the country in tackles for loss.
Yeah.
11 tackles for loss, 2.8 tackles for loss a game. And here's something that I think is important to remember when talking about him.
Mm-hmm.
And we're 4 games in. We have a long way to go. But like when you talk about things like All-American or like being nominated for major national awards. Yeah. He was a 3rd-team All-American last year at Miami.
He was the MAC player of the year, MAC defensive player of the year.
So this is not, like, in voters' eyes, this is not somebody coming from out of nowhere. This is somebody coming from 3rd-team All-American, going up a couple levels and playing better.
Yeah.
Playing better than he did at Miami.
Yeah. I got 2 things. First, it just reminds me a lot of what they did with Beavers. And Beavers.
And that took a little while.
Beavers weighed 265 pounds. I don't know if you guys remember. Beavers is 6'5". Right. Yeah. Ivan Pace is my height, 5'11" maybe. And like, I couldn't even fathom weighing 265 pounds and playing football. That alone is impressive. And for him to then cut that down, just like, I don't think none of us will understand how great he has to be feeling right now, because we're not him. But like, I imagine he probably feels like untouchable, and that's how he's playing. Like, to be able to play football at 265 and then be able to drop the amount of weight he plays and what he's at now, what he's playing at, like he definitely feels amazing. That's why he's playing amazing. And I have a question for you guys. Ivan Pace reminds me of a combination of 2 great Bearcat linebackers that we've had in the Fickle era. If you were to mix them together,
I think we know
Harry and Jarrell.
Yes, exactly correct. And
Harry and Jarrell,
it's like the stocky playmaking.
that was a gimme. That was a layup.
Hey, you guys always ask me the questions. It was my turn. It's my first one. I know it's easy, but it's
it was good.
the stocky playmaking ability of Jarrell mixed with the freakish athletic playmaking ability of Perry. And all three of them, they're all the same height. And they all play with that chip on their shoulder. And I love it. I mean, I loved playing with Perry and Jarrell. I couldn't even imagine playing with the chimera of them. I'm pretty like jealous of the guys. You know, I'm mad that I didn't come back for year 6, but I get to walk.
What word did you just say?
Chimera.
Wow.
Chimera.
Look, man, we're gonna have to dumb it down a little bit for this show. It's not an intellectual podcast.
That's TED Talk with Ryan Royer.
Is chimera is that sushi? What am I looking for here?
Chimera is a mix between two breeds.
Okay.
It's a dog term?
It's like it's a term for any biology. Like a liger. You know what a liger is? A lion and a tiger.
Easy. Come on. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's a chimera. That's a chimera. A liger is a chimera. He's a chimera of Jarrell and Perry.
So he's Jerry.
Yeah, he's a Jerry.
So that's Ivan's nickname is now Jerry.
Jerry Pace.
But
doesn't sound that intimidating.
I mean, it works though. I mean, there's a lot of good Jerrys out there. Jerry Pace is one.
I know one. I know a couple of Jerrys. One of them isn't too good, but we're not gonna.
Okay, fair.
Actually, 2 of them.
Okay, we'll leave it there. Through me, Jerry. Such a rascal. But yeah, so another thing I really liked about Ivan as well is he mentioned, you know, he was asked if he's having fun, you know, what he's enjoying most about, you know, being here with the Bearcats and playing. And he mentioned playing with his brother. And, you know, sometimes it is that kind of security and that comfortability being out there, you know, with your old, you know, with your old teammates from Coleraine, but also your true brother and having the ability to make plays and everything of that sort. But I also want to tip my cap to.
Well, one more thing on Ivan before we go.
Yeah, go ahead.
Remember, this was his dream.
Yeah.
He wanted to play here.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, they were in that mode. We've talked about this a little bit. They were in that mode in recruiting that they wanted to get bigger and longer at linebacker.
Right.
Yep.
They were looking to like go in a different direction, and they had their guys that they wanted. They didn't have an open spot for him.
Right.
But he wanted desperately to be a Bearcat. You talk about how good he feels, Ryan. I can't imagine how good he feels at the vindication of, look at me now. Like, this is what I wanted. I knew this is what I could be. And here I am, not just the best player on this team, but maybe the best player in this conference and one of the best players in the nation through the first month of the season.
Yep. I agree.
I mean, he holds the NCAA record for most sacks in a game.
Yeah.
Did you catch when the post-game press conference with him, Ryan?
No, I didn't. I didn't see his part of it. What did he say?
So I asked him about playing in the middle, and if being in the middle, he was more comfortable.
Such a good answer.
Dissecting things and being aggressive and making plays. And he was like, yeah, I am. But, you know, when I played at Will, I set the NCAA record with 6 sacks. So I'm pretty comfortable there, too.
Oh, I like that. A little sad, a little savviness. Yeah.
I know. Nailed it.
But can we tip the cap to Coach Tressel, though? And I don't know if Luke was involved in this as well, but the movement of Huber, flipping him with Ivan, I think it's made Wilson Huber go out there and he looks like a different player as well.
He's more natural at Will.
Yeah.
I think he is.
Yeah, because he's got that edge rush frame.
Right.
You know, like similar to Jaheim. That's why I like them there. They want length at the will for the RPO, for the glance route, and Jaheim and Huber have that. And they also have that, not that Ivan isn't a great pass rusher, he is, but they have that length. They have that, They have a little bit more like God-given ability there. And I agree. I think it's a great move because you could kind of see that like Mike, a lot runs through the Mike. And you saw last year, Joel DeBlanco able to like playing Mike, just make a ton of plays. Is like that. Our defense is set up. Like we run a lot of schemes, like to be able to put the Mike in a great spot and we want our one of our best players there, and Ivan is. And I think it's a great move by Tress and Fick and Hitchler, the guys calling the shots up there. And I think it's just going to get better, guys. This is just the tip of the iceberg. The defense every year, the defense has gotten better every week, and it's the best at the end of the year. That's the way Luke Fickell's defense has been. And Ivan, I just wait. He's going to blow up even more.
Well, and I think you see it out of threats too.
Yeah.
Threats week in and week out. It's just getting better and better. Seems more comfortable flying all over the field now. But yeah, I agree.
One more thing about
last year with threats. Go ahead, Ryan.
Just about Ivan, you guys are kind of talking about him settling in with the team. Like Saturday night, I'm just getting like Snapchats from my buddies. Like he's out there just hanging out with them, like chopping it up, like guys with like Bryce Burton. I don't know if they fanned him. Maybe if he keeps it up, he's gonna get the fan for sure. He's there with like Bryce Burton, Will Adams, Wyatt Fish, Dink, just like you might not pick just expect Ivan to be.
Those
like,
are our people. That's the walk-on crew. We're the walk-on show. We're the walk-on network.
I mean, he's there hanging out with them, like goofing around, having a good time, and like that's good. Like just see him out there, like. Not only is he playing well, but he's just meshing with the team well, and like that's only going to make him better. And it's just cool to see.
On threats, could you see that coming last year with him? That like he was one of those guys that worked his way into special teams as a true freshman, was a guy that was doing what was asked of him, and has kind of that freaky athletic ability that they love at safety.
Yeah, we always knew he had the ability. I mean, he's just a headhunter. Like I know maybe nowadays that's not the best term for football, but like the way I know the game, like just
we're old school here.
Yeah, just takes people out, like hits hard, plays fast, plays with reckless abandon, and like that's just like something you can't ignore. And you just knew it was just learning the defense and knowing where he had to be at and his responsibility at all times. You knew he was going to be ready, and that's you're seeing now. He's like had another off season, had more time in the weight room to get bigger, faster, stronger, to get smarter, earn more trust in the coaching staff and with his teammates. And that's exactly what he did. And I feel bad for my man Dingle. He had a chance this year, my boy, but Threats went out there, took the job, and he's not looking back. And you see why.
Well. Anything else on this game?
There's still a place where Dingle's going to help them.
He
can play. He can. That wasn't a matter of like he wasn't good enough to win the job.
No.
It's just that in threats they saw something short term and long term that can be really special.
It's playmaker. Like he's a playmaker, and he just makes more plays than Dingle, and Dingle will tell you that. And Threats just has like a little bit something that Dingle doesn't have when it comes to nose for the ball, making a play. And a little bit more freaky athleticism, but Dingle's still a freak athlete. Dingle's fast. Dingle will hit shit. Dingle, like it's nothing against Dingle at all. It's just Threats just has that little something different to him, and you see it developing. Yeah.
Well, when teams actually try and return a kick, which seemed like it's been 3 weeks since the team has actually tried to, Dingle's right there on every single kick coverage team. I mean, he's a special teams ace. There's no doubt about that. So, I mean, he's making his presence known, and I think he'll be right there to step up if anything were to happen, knock on wood, to in an opening for him to get onto the field. So, I think he's invaluable. There's 100%. No doubt about that. Anything else on this game, guys? I think we could just beat the drum about the whole tale of two halves type ordeal and try and figure out the offense, but I mean. Like Chad, I think you mentioned it maybe in your write-up. You take that first half stat line that the offense put up, you would take that for a game and walk away and be like, they played really, really well. So,
and I want to see what Royer thinks here, because this was my overall takeaway in my article after the game.
Is it that Indiana was emotionally drained?
Yeah, they were emotionally drained, like they said on Big Ten Network.
They were.
They were just too emotionally drained from those.
They beat themselves up as well. They beat themselves. Yeah.
No, they got their asses. They got their asses kicked in the first half. They got their asses kicked, and they were
You guys,
they were lucky. They were lucky to leave with a shred of dignity after the second half. Like they should have gotten run out of the stadium if we played the way we should have played. They should have been 50 points blown out.
Easy.
Yeah.
Now, my point being, this is something that this team is on a particularly accelerated timeline because they're going to be compared to 3 years of progress that you guys made together as a team, learning each individual how to handle early. They had to learn how to handle playing a little bit faster, playing a little bit cleaner, playing a little bit more sharp early in the game. They cleaned all that up. And then all of a sudden they run into the next thing that they're going to have to learn as a team, which is playing with a 28-point halftime lead. Like, I think we forget, and because now we're in the season, and when you're in the season, fans don't want to hear about what what you have to learn, what you have to experience to become great. But what you have to experience to become great, you guys got to do over 3 years. And even 4 years if you go to 18, where you guys were in all of these different situations, in all of these going from the hunter to the hunted, and how to play from behind, how to play from ahead, how to play when you're not at your best, how to play, how to win. Right. This team is having to do that like Cliff Notes
on
version.
the fly. Yeah.
Yeah, on the fly. And I think it's important for people to remember that this team cleaned up all the stuff that we were worried about from the first 3 games in that first half. They did all of those things that we were talking about.
Everything.
There weren't penalties. They were clean. They didn't start fast, but they didn't put themselves in a hole. And then when they hit their stride, they were able to go from 14-3 or whatever it was to 38-10. And then now you have to come out and learn. Okay, 38-10. How do we get this thing across the finish line? They weren't good at it in a lot of ways. They did it, and they still managed to do it with a 21-point win. But I think people need to understand, Ryan, that this team is trying to do things like all at once because the expectations are already growing. This is a team already, as they enter American Athletic Conference play, in position to play themselves into a New Year's Six Bowl. You guys didn't really have that. Like you had to learn in 18 what it took to go to UCF and get your ass kicked. You had to learn in 19 what it felt like to play in a conference championship game. Those are things that this team is being expected to learn on the fly. I think that's hard, man.
It's hard. It's hard, but it's expected, and it's exactly what Coach Vic has been. Yeah, I mean, that's what you get. That's what success brings, and that's what these guys are prepared for. They're ready for this, and they're excited to be in this opportunity, and they're going to make the most they can. They're going to learn, and that's exactly what the coaching staff is going to drill under their heads. And I think you're going to see a better Bearcats team next week.
And Chad, it's kind of, like what Luke said in the post-game press conference as well, as like, and he kind of looked at the media and was like, I know you guys hate me saying this, but we're still growing up together. We're still figuring things out, so it's kind of exactly what you're saying. And, I don't think anyone expects it to be perfect through, week 4.
No, there's people that expect it to be perfect.
Well, yeah, but
they're on the message board and in my Twitter mentions.
Those guys, yes.
I expected that. I thought we were going to be 4-0 when you say perfect. Perfect record.
Yeah.
And that just it hurts that we're not.
I did too, Ryan. I did too.
Ryan, I'm fully convinced if you play Kennesaw and Miami in week 1 and week 2, and then you get Indiana and Arkansas, that this team's 4-0 like you guys were.
Yeah, I think there's a solid argument there, and it almost, you're happy, but it like hurts you more. It's like, damn, like Arkansas was, 10th in the country. People we should have beat them. And, there's still, there could then still be certain things in consideration now for this team. People, the playoff kind of gets its door closed week 1, but you got a team that's just learning, improving, a lot of young guys that are just stepping up. We didn't even really expect or know about to expect. And it's just like, damn, that got away from us week 1. But it's still exciting. It's promising to see like how much this team is growing, how quickly it's growing. And there's still like a lot to play for to go win the conference and just try to dominate everyone every week and just have guys step in, make a ton of plays. And you know what? But yeah, it just stings too that week 1. The better you get, you're like, damn, we could have been undefeated right now. But
no, I completely agree. But also you can give a lot of credence to just momentum and how week 1 was what week 1 was, but it does seem like the momentum's picked up every single week. And even this past week, you get a goal line stand. You do numerous things in the second half, even though the offense struggled to get going. You do numerous things where you do still feel the momentum kind of kicking up. And now conference plays here, and you can kind of put the foot on the pedal even more and just really push forward and close out the AAC play in a big way, which I fully expect them to do, because I mean, watching a lot of these other games and hearing, Aaron's accounts of them on Sunday nights, it's safe to say that there's a chance to kind of steamroll through it. But I do have to ask you if Aaron, Chad, you guys have anything left on Indiana, Indiana, IU? Who's your daddy?
I've talked it plenty at this point.
All right. And Chad, you good on it?
Sorry, the kid just tried to pull a fast one on me.
But you're faster.
No, she gave me the report, the midterm when you're in middle school, you got to have your parents sign.
Didn't know that, but go on.
Dad, sign this really fast.
She gave me everything to sign, but didn't let me look at the report card.
Straight A's?
All A's, right?
3 A's, 2 B's, and a C+.
We'll talk about that C+ later.
She claims the C+, she just had an assignment to make up, and now it's an A.
There we go.
She claims.
There we go.
Big assignment.
But look, I was a middle schooler once. Yeah. I'm well aware of the old, here, sign this.
Sign this in the middle of your show. I know exactly.
Sign this in the middle of your show, and then let me get on my way to school tomorrow.
Perfect.
That was my youngest sister. Whew. Yeah. Mom, Dad signed this, and an hour later, we're finally sitting down for dinner. But anyway, so the Who's Your Daddy comment, by the way, guys, I was happy to hear the crowd get into that.
Frank, can we get that mic away from your collar, bro?
Dude, I've been holding it in my hand the entire time.
It's still. We got to get you a mic. I'm going to send you a mic. We don't. There we go. Just let the mic touch your collar. Never mind.
I mean, I can take this shirt off.
Man needs a little wax or something.
A little Bert Kreischer, Bert Kreischer.
Yeah, exactly. I can do a little shirt off. If you guys want to see that. But anyway, I told Aaron up in the box, Who's Your Daddy, man? If I got a dollar every time I heard that throughout my life, I'd be able to probably buy myself a mic. There we go. That's a good way to put it. But close the book on that. 2-0 on the home and home. Chad, that was all this was, right? Home and home. There's no lingering 20-30 game coming up or anything like that with the Hoosiers. I don't think.
I don't believe there is.
Yeah, I think it was just home and home. Up next, though, is AAC play. Ryan, I got to ask you, man. As far as it goes, and how much can you tell us and the listeners a little bit about the Bearcats duck and smoke? Not quite the story behind that, but what it did in the locker room, getting you guys fired up for that 2020 AAC championship game against a team that kind of, I don't want to call them a rival, but they're pushing all these buttons trying to get the Bearcats all fired up, especially heading into that game. And then a special number 12 on the Bearcats that might have, kind of gone after the cornerback after a really good catch for a touchdown late in the first half of that game as well. Was that some bulletin board material? What I mean, is
Yeah.
Tulsa a team that is semi-circled when they pop up on the schedule?
They have played us harder than I think anyone has played us the last 2 years in terms of just physical, just nasty football, like borderline dirty football,
Right.
some could say. And we know that. And last year we were like, yeah, they were like playing like a little chippy, a little like a way we didn't really like and take too much liking of, and they still came out and took it to us last year, and what could have been the biggest meltdown ever.
Oh,
I don't think people like that. That was insane. That the end of that game. I was
Oh,
about.
it was.
I thought I was gonna have a heart. I thought I was gonna like.
you
I
weren't
was
the only one.
jumping off the press box after.
Well, especially because it was college game day. It was like the whole entire build up, and it was just like, what is going on?
Tulsa plays hard. They've ran the ball on us 2 straight years, and it's like this is Tulsa week. Like it's time. We need to like put it to Tulsa. We need to put it to bed. And we need to beat the shit out of them because they've beat the shit out of us the past 2 years. Like
this might be the last time we play them.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah. And we need to get it. We need to right the ship here because those are 2 games that we could have lost. And, they're probably going home like we should have won those games. We dominated them. They have a little bit of an argument in that regard because they dominated the line of scrimmage. But
Almost their entire media contingent has me blocked on Twitter.
but yeah, it was bulletin. Like we weren't taught. We knew about it, but we weren't like Coach Vic didn't have it like up on the locker room or anything like that. But like before the game, like he said something like they want to do all that talking. Well, like now it's time, like something along those lines, basically. And like we were ready to go. We were fired up, and they freaking were ready too, and they were putting it to us, and it was a battle both years. So we gotta like figure them out this year because they've been a headache.
Their main thing is they're very physical, right? Like
Yeah,
they just match your physicality.
They know how to block in ways that are
they can get away with it, but
they
shouldn't maybe get away with it.
Yeah, very, very not the best, like, I guess, etiquette of blocking. Kind of a lot of dirty blocking, a lot of holding, a lot of twisting, a lot of tackling on offense. But they kind of just said, like, we want to try to bully your 3-man front, and they did, and they pushed the border on their blocking techniques and did well with it. So we gotta figure it out. We gotta man up and just stop the damn run because we haven't done that in 2 years.
Oh, well, they aren't running the ball this year.
What'd you say?
They're not running the ball this year. They're throwing like 50 plus times a game, right, Brent?
Yeah. Well, so Davis Brin was actually like top 3 in the country in passing yards heading into this past weekend. He did get hurt though. In the whole second half, the backup quarterback came in and actually played pretty well, and kind of put them in position to try and pull off the upset last week. But I don't know if Bryn will be back or not because his backup is kind of a scrambler. But Chad, you kind of mentioned that to Luke, and he dismissed it right away. He's like, yeah, well, they're a passing team now. They won't be against us on Saturday. So
Yeah.
I think that kind of caters to what you're saying, Ryan, where like they probably circle it on their end and they're like, all right, let's just go out there and try and out physical them. I think they did lose a couple NFL caliber offensive linemen though. So I don't know if that kind of leads to them changing things up offensively, but yeah, when I saw that he was top 3 in the country in passing yards, I was like, what?
Yeah, I know.
Tulsa's Davis Brin?
He wasn't we were not that worried about him throwing the ball last year.
Right. Right.
He did not throw the ball well versus us at all. Both years.
We'll see about that now.
Yeah.
Kind of what he does, obviously, because that, I mean, between him and Tanner Mordecai, it's a pass happy attacks for both of them. But I imagine they'll keep it on the ground.
I'd search to see what the Tulsa media is saying about the health of Davis Brin, but I'm blocked.
You're black. You're in a blackout, Chad.
Well, Ryan, they had that whole thing, the second, not the first cancellation, but the second cancellation after you guys all went to Florida and got COVID. The second cancellation, their president is the one that canceled the game. And they tried to blame you guys for ducking the smoke. Well, your president is responsible for the game being canceled. Cincinnati was fine with playing the game. And they didn't take too kindly to me having more information on the subject than they had, or at least having the information that they didn't want to share. It was convenient to blame Cincinnati for that game not being canceled when it was their own president that said we're not playing.
Unless their president was also.
I didn't even know that. So you really are in there, huh?
They can kiss my ass, Roy.
I didn't know why the game was canceled. I was like, holy shit! Like that's 3 weeks. What? 3 games?
Yeah.
It was like it was like 27 days we hadn't played a game going into that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys would have been in rough shape trying to get back to play that game in time.
Yeah,
but
it was weird. It was weird. I remember how weird that game was. It was like we haven't played. It was like everyone knew what it was like to be me. It was kind of crazy.
I haven't played since high school. This is weird.
Multiply that by about 25, and then you got the run.
Yeah, because what it was at UCF November 21st, and then you guys played against Tulsa in the AAC championship.
It was just like spring break. Everybody went to Orlando.
December 19th. December 19th, almost a full month later. That is quite the layoff. But yeah, and then of course in those games it's you add on the weather that was going on that day, and then add on top of that not a packed nipper. It's just always just weird, but it was loud.
Yeah,
for how it was.
That would like the amount of people that were there. They made such a big difference. Like having they were so loud for the amount of people there, and like just to have fans there. I mean, they definitely did not follow the limit. There was what was the limit? 5,000.
It's supposed to be like 5,000 to 6,000.
Yeah, there had to been more than that, but it was great. That meant a lot to us, and like getting to celebrate after with that, like in the stands, and that was great. That was a big. Last year's championship game was just a little bit more fun though, but
yeah, there we go.
That still was good.
But yeah,
all championships are great, right?
Yeah, they're amazing.
That's Tulsa week, as you mentioned. Hopefully the last time for a while.
Ever.
Yeah. Even on the basketball side too.
I've never been down there. What's it? Is it a tough scene?
I've never gone because I'm not going to Tulsa.
You got to get a connecting flight. I already looked up flights. I was like, maybe I can check it off the old bucket list, but nah, it ended up not being worth it. But yeah, my I've got a buddy who is a NIU fan, Northern Illinois fan, and they were there earlier this year, and he said it was the greatest college football experience he's ever been a part of. And like you kind of looked at it, for a little bit, and then he was like, "Oh, I'm just joking, completely joking." And the picture was like maybe a quarter full of fans in the entire stadium. So it's kind of strange, but I imagine
they'll get up for Cincinnati week.
Yeah, they'll get up a little bit more for
Cincinnati week.
So is their homecoming?
Well, that's a dumbass decision.
Well, they know.
I'm asking. I don't know. Is it their homecoming?
It was their homecoming in 2020 when the game was canceled. I know that it was kind of.
I'm predicting a big turnout for Chad Brendel coming to the stadium. I think the fans are going to be pretty hyped up and looking forward to seeing Chad and putting a name to the Twitter troll and take it.
I'll be at the Holy Grail.
Well, never mind. Looks like that capacity's staying at a quarter.
It's not homecoming. Their homecoming is October 27th through 30th that weekend.
I was just curious.
Shot in the dark by here. Yeah, I mean, but that's that Tulsa week, and I don't know. I'm excited to see what the team comes out and does because I haven't dove into them, but I imagine they'll want to continue to have the success they've had through the air and dominance that they've had defensively. So,
yeah, I'm predicting the defense is going to come out with a chip on their shoulder. I know they're going to be drilling into their heads the past 2 years. What was done to our Bearcat defense. So I'm really excited for the defense. I'm going to be paying close attention to them, and especially the run.
They haven't seen Ivan Pace yet.
Yeah, we have a Pace named Ivan.
We have two Paces.
We have two Paces.
Yeah, I'm not touching any of it. Aaron, was there anything in the mailbag for Ryan?
There's one.
No, I'm paying Ryan now. He's here for the mailbag.
Mailbag Nation, let's go, baby.
Are we doing basketball talk first, or are we gonna go mailbagging, or
let's mailbag and then get that basketball.
All right.
You guys want my opinion on basketball? I know a lot.
Yeah. So Ryan, the games at Tulsa basketball have been probably worse than the game. I hate watching the games at Tulsa. It's always a nail biter.
Yes,
last second shots. It's
like
it's
every
terrible.
time. I know
every time. No.
All right, opening up the football mailbag. First and foremost, could Ben Bryant still come back for another year? Huge Evan Prater guy, but this offense looks like we all thought it could. We've talked about it several different times, but Ben has 2 more years of eligibility, right?
Yeah.
1
this year and next year.
Yeah, this year and next year.
Yeah.
But something tells me
this year is already he's
him being on the Davey O'Brien right now watch list. I don't know that you're coming back.
Yeah, they already graded him out as an NFL draft.
Day 3 drafty is what they said coming into the season.
I think it was actually back end of day 2, like round 3, round 4.
Well, yeah, Dane Brugler, or however you say his name.
I'm talking about the actual draft grades that players get. Day 3, round 3, round 4 type grade for him going into the season.
Not surprised. He's an NFL style quarterback. Can make every throw, play under center, pocket poise. So
yeah, I agree.
All right. Sorry, I keep bringing up the issue of doing some kind of package inside the 5 to 10 yard line, like a Wildcat package with Prater, or having both Ben and Evan in the backfield and then having Ben set up outside. Is either of these the package Coach Luke Fickell was referring to when he said they have a package for Prater, or is Coach Luke Fickell wanting to keep this in his back pocket for the best time/game? We all seem concerned about getting a touchdown rushing there.
Yes.
All right. This is for Ryan. Has Metz ever gotten you back for calling out his name to get him to jump on the Wired Wednesday you started?
He's like, yeah, he's got me back. There's been a couple times he's hit me pretty hard. He's like, that's for the he's like what'd he say? He's like, that's for the Mets. And there'll be times where like I would yell it, he'd be like, he wouldn't jump it, and then like before they snapped the ball, he'd be in his 3-point, he'd be like, not today, Boyer. It was good. Like it's like literally, it sounds fake, but it's happened a lot. Like that's 100% true.
The German with Metz, like the little segment they do during timeouts, might be the best thing.
German, yeah.
Speaking German with Lorenz Metz might be the best thing that the video staff has put together this season, and they've put a lot of good stuff together this season already.
How's he feeling? Is he healing up?
He's getting there. I mean, he's still, again, you have ankle surgery at 6'9", 330 pounds. Like, it's going to take a while for that. Like, that ankle is like, every day.
Doesn't help that he has like 2 broken wrists. He's just, I feel bad for him, but I mean, he'll get back there.
I think right now on the right side, like, you're very lucky to have a guy that can play right tackle or right guard. Mm-hmm. Joe Huber's been unbelievable. Like, he's been their best lineman.
Yeah.
He's been otherworldly. But having a confidence that you've got a guy behind your right guard and your right tackle that you can trust. Yeah. I think that's immeasurable.
He was a first all
he's all conference last year, guard.
Yeah.
And he only played when Vinny was out or when Vinny had to slide over for Renton.
Yeah. I just hope that Metz is on the field a fair amount at Temple so he can just go out there and just demolish numerous people as payback for, what was that, 2019? Just 18. Just demolish people.
He told me, Royer, did I tell you this? Have we told you this? He told me after that Temple game when they came over and celebrated in your guys' face after winning that game in Philly. I asked him about it, and he was like, "I did not like that. I will break them."
Little Drago.
Yeah, he went Drago on it. I will break them.
Right now, 12 student athletes have scored
That's a
a
good
rushing, or defensive touchdown. Would you take
Okay,
the over or the under when set at 15 and a half?
Gotta pull something up here.
Who scored those touchdowns?
Yeah, like we need to know who hasn't. You know what I mean? Like,
You got Arquan. Wait, are you talking about this season?
yeah,
I'm
they've already had 12 guys score a touchdown.
I'm going Arquan Bush is going to get a pick 6 by the end of the year.
Okay.
And I think who hasn't scored on offense?
That's
Is
that's
Ryan Montgomery?
Ryan
scored?
Montgomery.
All right, there's 2 for me.
Jaden Thompson.
Oh yeah, he's bound to score.
Jaden's gonna get one.
I mean, it gets pretty slim after that because you got Will Pauling if he could come back from injury at the latter half of the year, get one. Chris Scott, Shimon. I don't know how long he's out with his injury.
I can see them giving a little pop past Tutty in the 4 tight end personnel to Shimon.
Does Ben count? Ben doesn't have a rushing touchdown. So there could be a quarterback sneak at the 1 inch line somewhere in there.
Count, according to the question.
Yeah. I think Peyton Singletary will get one.
Yeah.
Chris Scott doesn't have a touchdown. I can see Chris Scott in the red zone getting a touchdown.
I'm going over for sure.
And then any other, I mean, look at the surprises we've already had on defense. Damo Perry's got a touchdown.
Shabari also with the touchdown.
Show a rush package with like Blue Smith and Chris Scott out there, and Blue Smith gets one on a fake.
I mean, we're going to be up by so much in some of these games. I feel like where there's going to be
a bunch of guys on the floor, or on
Drew
the
Donnelly,
Miles Montgomery. He's
got one.
Yeah,
Kennesaw.
That like 75-yard touchdown run or whatever it was, 72-yard.
Deshaun Pace pick 6. No, Deshaun Pace gets brought down at
the 2 yard line.
At the 2.
Yeah.
So we're all over.
Boston has to score first in order for anyone else on the defense to score.
I don't know if 15 and a half was a high enough mark to set this. I think we're all over at this point.
Hammer the over.
I don't know.
Hammy the OV.
I think I like the over.
Right.
I'm not a betting man. I think
you lie like a.
Any reason to pay attention
like
to what happens?
Man.
Any reason to pay attention to what happens with Jermaine Matthews and Anthony Brown after their visits for the Kennesaw State game?
Not at this point. Not at this point. There have been, if you go back through the past 3 or 4 years, there have been a lot of guys like this that have been committed to both Ohio State and Cincinnati that have taken visits to the NIP for a game. Because guess what? Watching a game at the NIP is fucking awesome.
It's awesome, yeah.
So they come down, they take advantage, they live in town. Of course, the staff is still going to say yes, not just because of what could potentially, if anything changes in their recruitment for high school, but with the transfer portal, you always stay strong in those relationships with the best players in the city. So anything to watch now? I don't think so. I think they both end up where they're committed to. But it never hurts to have those guys on campus as much as possible.
That's a great. I never even thought about that. Like basically, like recruiting the transfer portal. It's a real thing now.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah, and recruiting your own team.
It's just
ongoing process.
Having all the Cincy guys that we have on the team. That's just an automatic transfer portal recruitment tool.
Well, yeah, and Ryan, you look at
Corey Kiner,
you look at the transfers. Ivan Pace, even. I mean, it's just
that's how we got Beavers.
Sure, it wasn't
Beavers.
like
B. Cook.
Yeah,
Cook. Yeah, all of them.
All right. How about some misdirection encounters in the rushing attack?
I'll let Mike Cummings know.
How about it?
I'm guessing whatever they're gonna do, they're gonna do. I don't.
Ben Bryant draft prospects this year.
We kind of just touched on that. I think he's a late day 2, early to mid day 3 guy at the moment. But you would have to think that stock is going up.
Yeah.
Smart kid, big arm, knows how to run, a pro-style offense. Ryan, we'll see what's in the mailbag. I want to ask you a question if it's not in the mailbag.
This is the last question for football. Any thoughts?
Okay, it is in the mailbag.
Any thoughts that the read option is not the most effective way at running the football in this offense? I think Ben is the right choice at quarterback, but just seems like a bad choice when your quarterback isn't much of a threat to run.
Ryan, how similar does the inside zone look like the read option? Because I think they're running a lot of inside zone that people think is the read option.
Very similar. I mean, it's basically the same. It's the quarterback. They make it look like inside zone just so we keep guys honest. I mean, they make it look like the read option so that it keeps the defense honest. It keeps the sniper from not running downhill and being in the run fit as quick. So it looks the same, and Ben's gonna make it look the same. He's gonna fake like he's gonna run. He's gonna fake the tuck. That's how you coach it. It keeps the defense honest.
And I think you saw that during Dez's career as well, where like a lot of times you're like, why didn't Dez keep that? He had so much field on the other side when it was probably a designed call where he was supposed to.
It was inside zone, just supposed to look like read option.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Wasn't Jake Sopko though talking to him on the Rock of Truth this past week about how they are actually running more RPOs than?
Well, that's the thing about it is the RPO now, because Ben's not really going to run, looks more like inside zone where he just pulls it. Like it's a double.
So it's just a
whammy, right?
It's just a P.
Say again.
I said it's just a P.
Handing it off is a run, Aaron.
Okay.
That's what an RPO is.
I understand it's run pass option.
Run option to hand it off, or you can pull it and pass.
Okay.
Yeah. And teams might be scheming it up like, oh, we're not worried about Ben. Like, let's align in this certain spot and do a certain read step at the sniper or at the safety, and let's force the run. Like, it's all scheme, and knowing that we might not want to run Ben, whereas we had Dez as a threat. Teams are going to give us probably different looks this year when it comes to that RPO sets.
All right. So that's the football portion of the mailbag.
Yeah.
Do you want me to continue with the basketball?
Yeah, Ryan's here.
All right.
He's part of the team now.
I'm just
tapped in.
Making sure. All right.
He's not a guest. He's staff.
Look, I get it. I didn't know if you actually wanted to talk about basketball before we got to the basketball portion of the mailbag. I mean,
Ryan, you're a UC basketball fan, right?
Yes.
All right, let's go.
With
Wes Miller, I love him.
He's amazing. With the RPO though, I think Ben will definitely know when to start and initiate his slide from now on. I think that's completely engraved in his head.
Yes.
Who slides better, Tom Brady or Ben Bryant?
It looked like he slipped. It looked like he slipped on a banana peel for his slide.
All right. Obviously, it varies from recruit to recruit, but what would you guys say the general ranking of importance of these four aspects in the mind of a recruit is, assuming a relationship with the coaching staff is number one? Number one, tradition/atmosphere. Number two, available playing time / style of play. Number three, selling the pros. And number four, NIL.
There's no answer for that.
No, it's certainly going to vary recruit to recruit.
Every recruit has a different, like, it's like asking like why did you pick this job? Why did you pick that job? Like, everyone's going to have a different reason.
A different reason at different points in their life, even. Like,
right.
I think NIL is going to start making a big importance, though. Like, that's like money talks to a lot of people, and if there's a big sum of money that like some schools are throwing around nowadays, I mean, that's for
the elite of the elite. That's not.
Yeah, that's true.
The standard recruit is not getting $100,000 to like commit somewhere. Like, if you're a top 100 kid, even in football, maybe a top 200 kid, there are going to be some of those opportunities.
The bidding wars that you've seen quarterback wise, but yeah.
Yeah. Like, quarterbacks, of course, like
Right.
everybody wants to get their quarterback, but like, you know, a mid 4-star safety,
Right.
is that kid really getting anything over what, you know, anybody else is getting? No, probably not. Like, so of course, here's what I would say to that, Ryan. Of course, NIL is important to every kid, but you're only worth what somebody will pay you.
Yeah, great point.
So, for some kids, it's going to be proximity. Like some kids are super tight with their families, and they want to be able to have mom and dad and their uncles and, you know, their high school teachers and everybody be able to come to their games. Some kids don't. They want to get away from home. They don't want to have anything to do with. They want to be 500 miles from home. They're going to be 1,000 miles from home, just to get away and forge their own path.
Yeah.
Relationship with the staff, I think, is fair to say, is always important, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Feeling like you're entering a team that is inclusive, that is not cliquish, I think is in terms of when you're going on visits, or at least official visits, you want to feel like these are guys I can vibe with, not like these are guys that look at me as, you know, hey, freshman, fuck out of here. Like, you know, we don't want to hang out with you tonight. Like, I think stuff like that kids pick up on. And that varies from program to program. So programs like Cincinnati are going to benefit from, and I don't know how many kids you hosted, or if they let you host kids, or if they thought that might be too wild of an experience.
How many?
Knew where to send them. I might not have hosted, but they knew where to send them.
How many recruits' heads did you put into a fan?
I don't know, but I've had my fair share.
No comment.
I've had my fair share of recruits pay a visit to my humble abode.
But I know guys, like, we see it, like, because now summer is kind of like the most important, like, official visit time. It used to be those couple weeks in between the end of the season and the bowl game when official visits happened. Now it's in June and into July. So when we're at camps, those guys are constantly back and forth at each other. Oh, got my guy from last weekend. He's committed. He's on the board. Did you get your guy? Did your guy commit? Like, there's a competition because you guys compete at pretty much everything.
Yeah.
There's a competition now between, like, oh, like I hosted 3 guys this summer and all 3 of them are commits.
No,
How did you get? Oh, you didn't. Your guys didn't commit. Your guys went somewhere else. You probably shouldn't be hosting no recruits no more. Like,
yeah. And Coach Fick would always tell us, he's like, if you guys don't like these guys, if you don't feel like they're a fit, like, you tell us.
Let everybody know, right?
Yeah, which I always respected. It was like they need, like, we want them to feel welcome, but like they also need to be what we want. They need to be the type of person, the type of player. And I think that's the best way to go about it. I always loved that about Coach Fick and the staff.
Yeah, but every kid is different. There's no way to rank that because every single one has a different criteria that they're looking for.
Yeah.
Which, like, you know, kind of what Ryan said as well. I think there could be some players where everyone is different, where they're like, hey, team A is offering me, you know, 150. Can you top that? You know what I mean? I do think it would potentially get to the point where some players are doing that, and then it does boil down to NIL. So I agree. Everyone's different, though. Every single one.
All right. What's your evaluation on Jizzle James? I know he is a fringe top 50 prospect. If we were to land James and not Collier, would we feel good about handing the keys to James, or would we need a starting point guard from the transfer portal?
That depends on, like, does Mike Adams Wood stay for an extra year? Like, that's contingent on other things. Jizzle James is a guy that can be your long-term answer at point guard. He's strong, he's physical, he's aggressive, he can really get to the paint. He's got an outstanding mid-range game. He needs to work on his three-point shot a little bit. Like all high school kids, he needs to work on being a secondary defender, but he's a really good on the ball defender because of how hard he competes, like the way that he plays and approaches the game. You could do far, far, far worse than having Jizzle James as, the guy that's either your 1B or immediately. Now, if he has to start at point guard right away, there's going to be growing pains. That's common sense.
Sure.
But this kid's dad is in the Hall of Fame.
For
in
football,
the NFL.
Not basketball, but yes.
This kid's dad is in the Hall of Fame in the NFL. There's a competitiveness that just flows through you if that's what your DNA is. So
who do you think's more competitive, him or Collier?
I think they're probably about the same. Like both of those guys are guys that I never really, when I've scouted them, I've never had to wonder about, like, is this a guy that plays off? Is this a guy that coasts at times? Mm-hmm. Both of them are push. So Collier's the better player. He's the number one player in the country. But I think their games, other than James being 6'1" and Collier being 6'5", their style of play is fairly similar in terms of like how they attack, how they constantly are probing a defense, how they're constantly putting pressure on you. That's what I want for my point guard. I want a point guard that's constantly making the defense scramble.
Yeah.
A rebound, outlet, defenses like hunting for who's got who and how to pick up. That's what I want for my point guard in today's college basketball. With Jizzle, the main thing, like, I think the biggest difference right now, other than 5 inches of height, Collier has made that next step as a shooter. Now, do I think he's a knockdown shooter yet? No. But he's taken that next step as a guy that you can feel pretty comfortable with as a shooter. James is still in the process of taking that next step. But as a guy that, like, I probably saw 20 times him pressure the defense sags, and he pulls up from 17 feet and just bangs an open jumper in your face. There's no reason that guy can't expand that range to 22, is what I'm saying.
I mean, you watch that tape, and like you're saying, his mid-range jumper is just so pure, and he gets great separation. He's does everything that you want to see, and if the rotation looks good on that, like you said, he's going to be able to expand it eventually. So, and another thing I noticed as well in watching the tape is that, like, his teammates are always, like, loving everything he does. Looks like they love having him, playing with him, and he being a beneficiary of his passes. So it seems like he's a gamer, and that's what you want.
Collier is absolutely an elite passer. He's the best passer I think I've seen since Slow-Mo. If you don't know who Slow-Mo is, that's Kyle Anderson. Had played with the Spurs in the NBA for a long time.
But he's 6'9".
But he's 6'9". But I'm just talking about the ability to see the floor. Collier's the best passer I've seen since Slow-Mo. Jizzle is a very good passer. Is he elite? No, but you guys know how tough I am on this shit. To consider you elite, you have to be one of the best I've ever seen. Collier is elite. Jizzle James is more than adequate. Royer, your takes on having a guy in the program named Jizzle?
I was going to say that is a bit suspect. I mean, I don't know. It's going to be an interesting cheering on Let's Go Jizz or something like that. But, the students are going to have their fun with that one.
So they're just so you know, they're also recruiting a kid with the last name of Badunga.
Jizzle
to Badunga for the dunk. It's another Jizzle Badunga dunk. Like Dan Horde is going to have to say that at some point in time if those two kids come in here.
Yes.
Unbelievable.
I love it.
Jizzle Badunga dunk.
I can't.
I was about to go somewhere with that, but I'm
leave it alone. Moving on.
Nah.
What have you guys heard about the development of Odie Oguama and Jared Hensley? And the next question actually adds Vic. This offseason, I believe that both guys have a lot of good basketball ahead of their future. Make it 3. I believe their development and improvement will help UC get back in the tournament. Any insight from Wes Miller on any of them, if you are able to share?
Real quick, though, I wanted to say Austin Peay's Twitter handle for their athletics is Let's Go P.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Go back and watch the show we did with Wes Miller a couple weeks ago. You can find those answers there. Go back and watch Wes Miller on our show Wednesday night. You can get a little bit of that there. And stay tuned because I'm going to get to be at basketball practice now starting tomorrow. So I will be there a couple days a week. I will be able to legally now, instead of because of archaic and ignorant NCAA rules where the media is allowed, Royer, to do everything football does. I can be there. Basketball, from the day the season ends until the day that official practice starts for that next season, the media is not allowed to be at workouts. We can't be at anything.
Stupid. Doesn't make sense.
But starting tomorrow, I can be at practice. So I will be at practice regularly. So stay here. Well, the little birdies thing, that joke comes from the one thing I'm allowed to go to is open gym. And football, you guys don't just get together on like a Tuesday night and run an 11 on 11. That's not how football that's not how football works.
Oh my God. If they found a way to get that involved, I don't know how.
I'm sure you guys could do it.
Oh yeah, we could for sure, but they run us as much as they can.
Right.
Like Notre Dame's full pad intramural football league. No way. No way.
In basketball, guys run open gym a lot. I'm allowed to pop in and if I catch wind of an open gym, I'm allowed to pop in and watch open gym. I'm just not allowed to watch.
You could smell it in the air. You just went there.
Yeah, I was happening to walk by Fifth Third Arena, and I heard a basketball bouncing.
You just love the smell of sweaty men, and it just attracts you.
Look, Royer, I'm so dedicated to this job that on like Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. I'm just roaming around campus, seeing if anybody's practicing or they're doing anything. That's how just dedicated I am.
Waiting for your opportunity.
So the real birdies will be back starting this week, starting Wednesday. Sorry. Yeah, Wednesday is when we're going to be. I got to pick Kelly up from the hospital tomorrow. I think she would be upset if she asked me to pick her up and I was like, I'm at practice.
And that
in a couple hours.
More important things.
That answers our next question. When does practice start?
Practice starts at 7 a.m. on Tuesday. I will be at practice at 4 p.m. on Wednesday. So look for that.
I think this is an interesting question. Curious to see how you answer it, Chad. When Wes first took the job, he mentioned he made mistakes in the beginning of his time at UNCG, just going after the best talent and not focusing enough on the culture fit of these players. Have you talked with Wes about how he potentially avoids this mistake again while going after top 50 talent?
I think the biggest difference right now is the staff. Because he's now, and a lot of these guys were with Wes at different points back in the early days of his time at UNCG, when they were just swinging to swing. And I always found it funny. There have been a lot of staffs over the years that I've been doing this, that like the day that there's a new rankings release, all the top movers, this guy jumped 42 spots. Here are the 5 schools that offered the biggest risers the day of the rankings release. Well, then you're not recruiting's relationships. You don't recruit numbers. You recruit, what's my relationship with the AAU coach? Do I know the high school coach? Do I know like his workout guy, the guy that trains him? Like, And if you do, and you've got an in basketball, football's a whole different beast. Basketball's very specific. And I think Wes has got a staff now with Morgan and Dollar in the South and Roberts and breaking up in the Midwest.
Unbelievable.
I don't even know what's going on. That I wish I did.
I'll tell you in the post show. I think you now have a staff that is able to identify those relationships, talk to the people at the AAU program, the high school program. How is this kid? Is he an asshole? Does he fit? Like, what's he about? What's his family life about? What's his passion? What's his motivation? And when you have coaches that can get those real answers, then you can proceed recruiting a little bit differently than just going after the best talent. And instead being able to say, okay, this kid's also in the top 50, but this kid's who we are and this kid's not. So we're going to pass on this kid and move on with this other kid.
All right. If we were putting a parlay together to bet on what 23 recruits will be with us next year, who would be our trifecta of players in order of most likely? They're trying. They're trying real hard.
Y'all trying. Like, I give you guys credit. You have found 30 different ways to ask the same question to put me on the spot. It's not fucking happening. It's not happening.
Lockdown.
I would say that the top favorite would probably be Rayvon. That'd be my pick.
I would, yeah. If I could put a parlay on Rayvon ending up here, I would.
There you go.
Fair enough.
It's hard. It's hard.
I know this next question is building a best lineup, and it's already almost 2 hours in.
Yeah.
I think
that's an off-season question. Like, D-Monk, I love you. That's an off-season question. That's not like we got a lot of shit to talk about right now.
I got one. 5 Oscar Robertsons, but we break the rules.
We broke the rules.
You went over the dollar amount, but I like it. It's a good pick.
Is there room for Samto, Flory, and Page all in the same 23 class here?
Probably not. Probably not. That's a lot of freshmen. Like bigs take extra time to develop, right?
Yeah.
That's a lot of freshman bigs. Even 3 or 4 or 5, whatever position they play. I don't think you want 3 freshman bigs.
I'd agree. Who would play off ball if Jizzle and Collier played together?
Whoever didn't get the outlet pass. When you play with 2 point guards, that's the beauty of playing with 2 point guards, is you have a guy on each side that whoever gets the pass can just go and pressure the defense and push and do those aggressive things that I was talking about, like why you recruit guys like this at the point guard position. Somebody rebounds, and whoever they see first out of those 2, that's who gets the pass and goes downhill. Both of them can get to the rim. Both of them can touch the paint. Both of them can pass at a high level. Like, that's why you play them together, so that you don't have to have, like, okay, guy gets the, power forward gets the rebound and has to take 3 seconds figuring out where his point guard is to throw the ball to. No, rebound, go. And the guys that have the ball are super dangerous.
All right.
Royer, would you agree?
I agree. The way you were describing it, I feel like Collier would probably be better off ball than Jizzle.
Better shooter and bigger.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And he can just.
But he's also the number
one.
Jizzle
can create more space for him, driving the lane, kicking it out, getting Collier's defender on his heels a little bit.
Well, also, the other thing that's exciting to me about 2 point guard systems is there's a lot of, in college basketball now, there's a lot of read and replace. So, like, the point guard has the ball, he comes off the ball screen, he goes to the wing. The guy on the opposite wing replaces him at the top of the key.
Yeah.
If that's another elite point guard and you've got the defense moving, now your ability to attack
Collier's got the length of a wing too.
Yeah, he's 6'5".
Yeah.
You're pretty good at this basketball stuff.
Yeah.
Royer?
I participated on the basketball team.
It's like when Adam Schefter does his basketball portion of the Dan Lebitard show over here.
He dabbles with being an NBA expert.
I would think Collier would be the one that has the ball in his hands the most, though. When it boils down to it, it was like a John
He's
Wall.
He's the number one point guard in the country.
That's why I said it.
You gotta get him.
It's like a John Wall and Eric Bledsoe situation in Kentucky back
when
then.
They were running the dribble drive. Yeah,
just don't get bone zoned.
This is such a big. It's such a big recruit. Not obviously he's the number one recruit, but like the message it will send across the country, the message it will send about Wes Miller, I think it will just solidify. I mean, I think he's the man, and I think he's 100% the answer. And I think if he can land Collier, it's just going to like cement his potential.
All right, that's the end of the basketball mailbag and the last portion of the mailbag.
This is where it gets fun, Ryan.
Guys, it has been a long day, and I do not have time to kill Aaron, so let's get to rapid fire. Coney or four-way?
Coney.
Chili cheese sandwich. So
that's not the fucking question.
All right, I'll leave. My
if I'm going inside, I prefer a four-way or a five-way, but four-way.
There is something different about I'm three-way. I don't do onions,
but I don't get spaghetti to go. I got it to go, but it's not the same.
There's something different about it on those oval plates.
Yeah, I think everything like Skyline just isn't the same in general to go. Like even like the Coney, like you get in the car and like 10 minutes you get home. You got
to open the box.
It's congealed.
Royer, you have to open. So the trick is, when they give it to you, you open the box, and that way the heat from the chili doesn't melt fully the cheese and congeal it on top.
The condensation,
Or Mo Egger's way is cheese on the side on Coney's when he gets them to go.
Okay.
You can do that, and they just give you the bag of cheese that normally goes on your three-way.
Yeah.
And you put that on your Coney's when you get to your destination, so the cheese is still
wow.
fresh.
I mean, this is some veteran talk here. I'm glad I'm getting the insight. I'm a lucky guy.
Trail mix or popcorn?
Trail mix.
Just plain popcorn? I'll probably go with popcorn. I love getting popcorn at the movies.
I'll say popcorn as well. Brent, are you gone for real?
All right. Brent!
Popcorn.
He said popcorn.
He said popcorn. Sega or Nintendo as a kid? I had both.
I had neither.
That wasn't the question.
So mad.
Nintendo, because I'm a Zelda absolute nerd for Zelda.
I started with Nintendo. That's fine.
Nintendo 64.
Still not the question. P.S. Thoughts and prayers for Kelly. And that's
thank you. Like I said, hopefully we get to bring her home tomorrow after her 96 hours of chemo.
The next question,
she's been in a better mood every day. I don't know how that. I'm gonna tell a Kelly story because I think this exemplifies Kelly. So I was in her room yesterday, just hanging out, and she's in a really good mood. Like we're joking around and laughing and listening to some comedy sketches on TikTok as I'm scrolling through my TikTok and watching TV after the Bengals game. And the nurse comes in, and it's about time for the pain medication and whatever. And she's good, right? She's doing well. And the nurse is like, "What is your pain level right now?" And Kelly's like, "It's pretty good. I think it's at like an 8.4." 8.4?
Warrior.
That's how fucking tough my wife is.
Jesus.
An 8.4, I'm under the bed. If my pain is at a 4, I cancel the day.
Chad, that's a tribute to you as well. That's how much you've numbed her over the years.
Absolutely true, Aaron. Absolutely true. 1,000% true. What's your pain? 8.4, but 8.4 is like a Tuesday at noon. Like 8.4.
It's a trooper.
I was like,
God bless.
8.4. She's like, yeah, it pretty much hurts. I'm like, we're laughing and having a great, like, this is the most normal you've been in 3 weeks. The pain over the past 3 weeks has been significantly more than an 8.4. I married an alien. I'm pretty
We
sure.
need her to do some pregame speeches. Where was she before
shit,
Alabama?
Shit.
Get on Fickle's ass at the presser this week.
You think you're hurting? I'm in an 8.4 right now, and I'm in a great mood.
Now go out there and kick some ass.
Right.
That's the mailbag.
There was another one.
I wasn't touching that one.
There's more.
I'm touching it.
Aaron, ask the question.
I don't have to do it.
I'm
in charge of the mailbag.
I think it's a great question. Ryan, are you familiar with MFK?
MFK.
Mary.
Oh,
Kill.
yes.
Okay. MFK, ice cream, cookies, and cake. This is easy for me. I am marrying the shit out of cookies. Chocolate chip cookies. I'm not a sweets person. I don't love sweets. But a great chocolate chip cookie for me, like an insomnia cookie, the big one, the triple chocolate chunk cookie, that shit is heavenly.
Have you had crumble?
So, yeah, I've had crumble. Crumble is awesome as well.
Yeah.
I'm marrying the shit out of cookies. Ice cream.
So aggressive.
Ice cream, I'm gonna,
marry those cookies.
We're gonna ice cream and I are gonna have a good time occasionally.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cake, I can do without cake. Cake's not my jam.
When you're
I'm gonna
feeling
kill cake.
down, you're a little lonely, you'll call up ice cream.
Right.
Yeah. or if cookies decide that, like, you
Yeah,
got a long
cookies
run,
moved
but I'm
on.
sick of you.
Cookies moved on to icing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna marry ice cream, fornicate cookies,
Wow.
kill
Good
cake.
word. Good word.
I like ice cream cake.
I love
do
ice
too.
cream cake, but that's not the question.
I don't care. I didn't even want to
Ice
ask the
cream cake is
question.
Not
ice
the
cream.
question.
Ice cream cake is just ice cream in a different form.
I didn't even want to ask the question.
I'm gonna marry cookies.
My phone keeps getting blown up because the Reds are just getting shelled by the Pirates right
They
now.
are. After a rain delay, it was looking fine for a little bit, but yeah. So I'm gonna marry the cookies, and actually, I'm gonna kill ice cream. I don't have a Graders near me here in Indy. I mean, I kind of do. It's not the same thing, but when I'm in Cincy, I'm always getting Graders. But I don't know. I'm killing ice cream. I don't know.
It's a special
You're a
place
cake
in
guy?
hell.
That means you're a cake guy.
I do like that cake. So yeah, I'm gonna
We should probably get out of here before Brent says something stupid.
Yeah. Oh, I almost did. I was so close. But yeah. I mean, that's how I like it. Would be that way. Just real fast, guys. Favorite sports documentary, so that Zach Jones gets a quick shout out here. Favorite sports documentary can be a movie or TV series.
Favorite sports?
Man, documentaries. Like I'm not a giant documentary guy.
No.
I mean, I
There's
think
some
I've got
30 for 30s, but none of them are just coming to my head. Right
I guess if we consider 30 for 30s documentaries, I would go with the Death of the Big East. I thought that was such, like, Cincinnati was a part of that. It was, they came in on the back end of something that was already, because of the divide between the basketball schools and the football schools, was never going to be able to, like, last long term. But as a child growing up outside of UC basketball, the Big East is what forged my love for basketball. Carnesecca and, like Calhoun and Boeheim and John Thompson and like all those personalities and the rivalries and what that meant every week on Big Monday on ESPN, which at the time was something that was new because we only got Cincinnati sports on like local TV and cable was just starting to take over. Yeah. And you got to actually see like, and they were going to Villanova,
Shaman.
What's up, Shaman?
What up, man?
I think Chad, not to butt in real quick, but The Last Dance is hands down for me, but that came out in a time where there was no sports on, and that was appointment television.
And to get week. Jordan like in like so many times, like the raw Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Like The Last Dance was amazing. And there's like the crazy thing is they've tried to replicate it with Brady and Jeter and like all of those have fallen completely flat.
Right.
The Jordan one, like you had the security guard that they used to like roll dice with, like in the back, and like Rodman and all those stories. Last Dance.
They still didn't tell the whole story about how he got suspended from the NBA for 2 years for gambling. So anyway, I like the U and the Manti Te'o.
Talk about the U, yeah.
I didn't see the Manti Te'o when I just
that one's dark. That's
crazy. Dark. Made me feel really bad about all those.
You ever been catfish, Royer?
Not yet. I just met my girlfriend at the precinct.
Oh, I love it.
Meeting and my fingers were crossed. I was like, please be
I hope she fucking looks like the picture.
If not, this will be a tasty steak, and that's about
Aaron, we're probably not getting monetized tonight. So
probably not. It's gone off the rails.
This is why we keep the football stuff is great. The other stuff is why you have Ryan Royer.
There's a whole other bag of tricks here.
Anything else we got, gentlemen?
No, I think we covered all the basketball, like the recruiting stuff. I think we touched on all that.
Any questions?
Yeah. Practice starts tomorrow at 7 a.m.
Congrats
I'll be there
to
Wednesday.
Chad Dollar.
Congrats to Chad Dollar, promoted to associate head coach. Remember, Chad Dollar was the outsider when this staff got hired. Andre Morgan had worked for Wes at Greensboro. Mike Roberts and Wes Miller went to prep school together. They have been friends since literally like childhood. And Chad Dollar came in last year as kind of the new guy and has made that type of impression on this program that he's now the associate head coach. Couldn't happen to a better dude. I love Chad Dollar. Like, he's a guy that's been in the game. His dad was a legendary high school coach in Atlanta. That's a guy that knows the game and has been around the game his whole life. So super happy for Chad Dollar. He deserves that shit.
Amen. I agree. Well, nothing else from any of you guys.
And Shaman, thanks for checking us out, brother. I hope you're feeling all right. I hope you're getting better with the shoulder.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Shaman.
Miss you, Shaman.
You ever run into him? How's that feel?
Bad.
It don't feel too good.
It's not. And he was a freshman. I was like, holy shit! Like this, these new recruits, man.
This is a problem. This is a problem over the
I don't have enough time to get up. I don't have any more years left of me to get strong enough to go against him. So I better.
That's why you didn't use your COVID year with Shaman. You're like, I'm good.
Retire with dignity.
There you go.
Why do these freshmen keep getting bigger?
It's like, why can't I? What's wrong with me?
And I keep staying the same size. Yeah.
These freshman boys, they get bigger. I stay the same size.
Yeah.
All right.
You saw what I was going for there, Chad. You picked
Get us out of here, Brent.
Hey, you know what? A big shout out and a big thank you to Danco Joe and Danco Transmission Auto Care. Always got to shout them out. He got shouted out in the chat as well. I didn't see. Joe Schweitzer said it's random, but Danco Joe is the best. Got the chance to tailgate with him, and it was a pleasure. Chad, Aaron, Ryan, we all know Danco Joe's the man. So shout out to Danco Joe and Danco Transmission. Check them out. Big thank you as well to Ryan Royer hopping on every Monday throughout the football season. And who knows now as things continue to evolve. But aside from that,
now we know he's a bat. Like we might need him for basketball.
Yeah. I love basketball. I love watching it. I love Wes Miller. So
it's fun.
I'm all in.
It's fun. Basketball, baby. It's right around the corner. It's here. But other than that, big shout out, big thank you as well to co-hosts. I guess we'll say co-host Aaron Smith, Chad Brendel, and Ryan Royer. I am Brent Young. Yet again, guys, another fantastic BBP presented by BearcatJournal.com.
See ya.